Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. We're about to get started. All right. Okay. Well, welcome to What in the World is GIS at the Texas Conference on Digital Libraries. My name is Adrienne Shapiro, and I'm the Digital Projects Librarian at Texas Women's University and a member of the TCDL Planning Committee. I'm pleased to be your session moderator today. First, some housekeeping. Texas Digital Library and the TCDL Planning Committee are dedicated to providing an experience for everyone that is free from all forms of harassment and inclusive of all people. We ask that everyone here today be considerate and respectful in speech and action, attempt collaboration before conflict, refrain from demeaning, discriminatory, or harassing behavior in speech, and be mindful of your environment and of your fellow participants. You can also view our code of conduct on the homepage of the conference. Today's meeting will run approximately until 3:50 with a break around 3 o'clock, but please feel free to take breaks as you need. I invite you to say hello in chat and let us know where you're joining from, share resources, and make comments throughout today's workshop. We are also encouraging you to post your questions in the Q&A, and you can also vote on questions that you'd like our speakers to answer. I'll be watching for your questions and we'll share them with the speaker. And now on with the show. I'm pleased to introduce Shadi Maleki, and we'll hand things over to her to get started. Oh, I'm sorry, Shadi. Looks like you're still muted.
I'm sorry about that. Thanks so much, Adrienne. Yes, my name is Shadi Maleki from Texas State University GIS Services. I'm a recently graduated PhD in GIS. I worked with Dr. Nathaniel Didibanfo at the GIS Services in Altic Library in Texas State University. We couldn't be here today, so I'm going to conduct this workshop, and I'm very happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So this workshop is called What in the World is GIS? So practically it's going to be an introduction about what GIS is and how we can use it in a free manner, actually, without help of, paid softwares or very expensive softwares. So first, let's talk about, okay, now it's working. This is an outline, so I'm going to talk about GIS, of course, just a quick definition, and then the data models that we use in GIS. What are the type of data that we can use actually in a GIS softwares. And then I'm going to introduce some free open source GIS that you can use without the need of paying for any type of expensive software. And then hands-on learning is the next session that we have. So GIS stands for Geographic Information System. So geographic is everything related to Earth. So anything in space, that wouldn't be geographic. So geographic, any data, any location on Earth. And information is data and what they mean actually related to this location on Earth. Systems is all the computer software, technology, hardware, procedures, and structures that we use for GIS work. GIS stands also for Geographic Information Science, but this is mostly when we talk about the discipline of GIS. So we would say a master's in Geographic Information Science and not system, probably. So data models. We have two main types of data models with GIS, vector data and raster data. Vector data is the one that I'm going to talk about it more, and we are going to use also today in our hands-on activity. Vector data includes points, lines, and areas that we call them polygons. So points are one-dimensional, lines are two-dimensional. They are created by 2 points and a line. And then we have polygon, that is multiple points and multiple lines. So you can create different shapes and different areas based on what your data is and what your project is looking like. Raster data is mostly grid data, what we call Esri grid or just grid data. This data is based on pixels. So we call each of the unique areas, and the smallest areas here is called a pixel. That's the that's the unit actually that we use to introduce rasters and to calculate rasters. So you can, sometimes you are working on a project and you have some vector data and you have some raster data. What you need to do is to vectorize your rasters or rasterize your vectors. You have a way to do this in GIS. But how can we decide whether we want to use vector data or raster data? That all depends on our question and on the research project that we are working on and on the objects that we are looking at. For example, vector data is used for discrete type of data. We would say we have a hospital, so hospitals could be points, fire stations could be points. We cannot say we have 1.5 hospital. That wouldn't be a discrete data. But with rasters, we can show continuous data. That would be 1.5. For example, elevation would be a raster data. Precipitation would be raster data. Land cover, land use, those are all raster types because we can have float numbers, we can have decimals. But with vector data is usually you have one unit. That's also, as I said, that's the one that we are going to see also in today's hands-on activity. So we can talk about it more. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to explain more. So how we use these layers in a GIS? Practically in a GIS project, as I said, you may have some vector data, some raster data. Sometimes you need to convert these two, vector to raster, raster to vector. But at the end, what you do is overlaying. Most of the job is usually you have a study area and you have these different layers. What you do, you overlay these layers, you clip these layers based on your study area shape. For example, you have the layer of Texas, but what you need is exactly only Austin area. So you would clip your data based on Austin city limits, for example. You will do the same thing, and after that, you will do some analysis on them. This is a simple thematic map here. As you see, this map is showing the country of origin for graduate students at Texas State University. You can see on the legend that most of the students come from United States. And this legend here is showing you the number of students coming, which country they are coming. So what type of information are we getting from this map? First, what are the countries of origin for graduate students? And then how many students? What's the range of students coming from these countries? If you look at this map has all the necessary cartographic elements of a map that you need always to put on your map. First of all, it's important to have a title. You can put this title on your map or in the caption, depending on your publication. Then legend is one of the most important things to put on your map. Other than that, it's very difficult to understand your map. It is possible to put numbers on your map, but as you can see, that would become a very busy and probably confusing map. So it's always best to have a legend. Scale is another important element of a map that we have here. You can have different scales based on metrics or based on miles, for example, or American units that you can use. Other information here, it's very important to put the source of your data. Sometimes projection of your map is one of the most important things that you can put. Again, this depends what's your purpose of producing this map or showing this map. Other than that, the source of data is really important. When this map is created, sometimes the data is outdated and you want to reproduce this map and you want to go to the source and get updated data to create this map. And then who created this map? This is another information that you put. Sometimes you put also north arrow on your maps, but that depends again. Usually when you show the world map, something like that, you don't need to put a north arrow on it. When we have something like this, or we are showing, for example, United States, because we know where north is, we may want to put grids. This is what I'm going to show you also in the workshop today, in the hands-on section of the workshop. Okay, that was a simple thematic map that we could produce with GIS. This one is a little bit more analytic and a little bit more complex. We call it modeling suitability. It means when you're looking for areas to locate a business, or for areas suitable for agriculture, anything. This is a type of suitability analysis that we do with GIS. For example, in this map, we are looking for areas suitable to create a toy store, a new toy store. So what we need to do is first to think about the competitors. We would say here that, for example, these 3 stores here in the legend would be our competitors. So we want to have some distance from them for our new stores. And then we think about what other layers we would need for this type of analysis. We would need roads and county boundaries. And at the end, what you produce is a legend, something like this, that the green areas is showing you, the green color is showing you the areas that are suitable for creating this map based on your criteria. Let's say that your criteria is, you can see some of the here criteria that we put here. You can include population density, distance to interstate, median family income, % children living in those areas, and distance to competitors, owners, tenure if they have they own their houses or they rent, and % employed. Of course, based on your research, you would change your criteria, but the map is something like this, that based on the color, and then when you go to red areas, these are not good at all. But maybe yellow areas are some areas that you may need to do more analysis on them, further analysis to understand, whether they could be good candidates or not. So now that you have a good idea probably about what GIS is, let's talk about free open source software that we call also FOSS. These are software that are freely available, of course, to all the users with or without any experience in GIS. They are often managed by a community of volunteer programs. So it means that they are not paid. And this part is very interesting. This is a pro, and this is also kind of an advantage and disadvantage. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. And then to do this, to contribute to this software, you need to know C languages or Java or .NET. If you know some of these languages, you can become a volunteer to work on these softwares. The advantage of this is, of course, we don't pay for this software, and some of them are really, really good, like the one that I'm going to introduce today. But sometimes there is, there are glitches in this software. Some options don't work. And that's when we have a disadvantage, because you don't have a way to contact this community. You can write on different web pages that this community would see, but you don't have a direct way to contact, people over there and ask them to fix whatever the problem is. So why we are using this? We don't pay for this. They are highly available. They come in different languages. That's one of the options that I really like it, because it makes it diverse. It makes it available to people who do not know also English. Maybe they know other languages. So that's very nice. And they work on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Esri software, if you have heard about them, they are mostly for Windows. You can install a parallel system on your Mac and use Esri products, but that's not really ideal. You need to use them mostly on Windows-based computers. But with open source GIS, most of them work on different systems. And you get different skills. A lot of them, you know, if you have some skills coming from Esri, of course, using this software is also easier for you. But again, if you do not have, there are a lot of material for this type of software to use and learn. So let's see some of them. Some of the GIS, we have hundreds probably of open source software that we can use, but some of them for GIS, they are QGIS, like Geoda is a good one, SAM, MGWR, CrimeSat. We have this actually in Altec Library, Geospace at Texas State University. Some of them are not much used by our students and faculty, like Map Window, but some, as I mentioned, are very much used, especially QGIS. QGIS is really good because it provides you with a way to do your analysis, but also display your map, create a map. Some of this software like SAM or MGWR, CrimeSat, they do not provide you with a display option. So you do your analysis, but you cannot display them. We have remote sensing, open source software that are again available in the libraries, but you can just perfectly download them on your computer and use them. There are some for data management and data storage. Postgresql is getting very popular these days because database management is a very hot topic these days. Some of these softwares are for web mapping. Besides Esri's ArcGIS Online or Esri's web app, you can use this software for your web mapping activities. And we have web services, as I said, hundreds of them. But what we are going to use today is this QGIS. So right now I'm finished with the presentation. That was a very quick presentation just to let you know what type of data we are going to use, what GIS is, what are the software that we can use for GIS, and especially free open source GIS. So I would stop here and ask you whether everybody has already downloaded, installed QGIS on their computers, because this is what we are going to do right now. Okay.
I guess if anyone has questions about that, you can put them into the chat or the Q&A.
Yes.
No.
If you need to know how to download QGIS and you haven't done it yet, just let me know. I can show it to you before proceeding with the workshop, with the hands-on workshop. Otherwise, I would ask you just to please open your QGIS.
And I think you are all able to unmute yourselves and talk if you'd like. And the link to QGIS is in the presentation here down at the bottom. You may need to refresh your screen. There was a problem with the link when we started, but I fixed it. So refresh your screen and hopefully that will solve the problem.
Yes, this is the link to download QGIS. It doesn't take that long, but if you need me to wait a little bit for you until you get the software installed on your computer, I can do that. And then I was going to say that for the sake of for avoiding distraction, I'm going to stop my video when I'm working on the software, but definitely I'm gonna be available also with video for the Q&A session. Okay. So as Adrian said, I would be really happy if you open your mics and ask your questions whenever you want. Just please stop me. I can do that. I'm not going to be distracted. So right now I'm going to open my QGIS on QGIS desktop. This is what it's called. If you want to find it on your computer, you can, and it's not showing up here, you can just write QGIS and it's gonna show up. This is the latest version of QGIS. It's called Zurich. Interestingly, this community updates the software very often. So if you downloaded the software 3 weeks ago, the version might be different. So, but nothing really changes. So I'm not worried about that. If you have other versions of QGIS, just little things here and there may change, but nothing very critical. So this is the software. But before going ahead, I wanted to make sure that you all have the data. The data, again, is listed here on the website. So you can go to the Google Drive here and right-click on data. And you have download option to download your data. So I'm going to do same thing so you can see. Okay, depending on what browser you are using, your data is going to be stored in a different place. Mine goes to download section. You can open this or just show in folder if you are using Chrome. I downloaded this before just to make sure it was going to download, correctly. So I may just delete one of them. Okay, so this is how you are going to see your data today. If you want, you can just, copy and paste it to another folder or just cut it and take it to another folder. I'm going to use my downloads today for this workshop, so I'm fine with this. As you see, this data folder is zipped. So first thing that we need to do is just unzip this folder. What we need to do is just right click on this folder and then extract all. It's asking me where to extract. If this box is clicked, just unselect this one. You don't want to show the inside of your files, like, or the folder, just directly. So I'm going to say, yes, downloads is good for me. If you need to go to another folder or, for example, desktop, you can do that. Extract. Okay, now I have another folder that is unzipped. You should have this folder now. So double click on this and let's first explore a little bit the data and see what we have here. Okay, first of all, you see 2 PDF files here. These are for you. Functions in QGIS. This is for your information, just to show you, just for further information later. If you come back to the software and you want to understand the toolbars and panels a little bit more, you have this folder as a guide. So we are not going to use it today, of course. We are just going to see them directly on the software. And then exploring open source GIS 1. This is one of the workshops that we teach at Texas State at GIS Services in ALTEC library. This is very similar to the exercise that we are going to one that we are going to do today, but it's not completely the same thing. Again, this is for your reference to come back in case you do not remember what you learned today or you have a question. You can refer to this document, come back to it, and remember, what we did, or at least very similar to what we did. Okay, these are the 2 PDFs. Now let's explore a little bit the data. You can see cities, you can see interstate highways, lakes, rivers, and US states here. But from each of these names, you can see more than one. And you may be wondering, okay, what does this really mean? This means that we have shapefiles. Shapefiles are the type of vector data. We learned about vector and we learned about raster. Vector data is for your discrete data. And shapefiles are the type of data that you use to present your vector data. So as you can see this here, we have, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities here. All these 5 cities, when you open them in QGIS, they are going to become only one layer, but you need all this information. So what I'm going here to say is just pay attention. If you need to give a layer to your coworker, for example, you need to give a shapefile. You create a shapefile based on the rivers, whatever cities, and you need to share it with your coworker. You cannot say, okay, this is the shapefile. I'm just going to copy and paste and give this or attach this to my email. That's not gonna work. You need all this information just to create your shapefile. For example, this DBF is gonna be the table with all the attributes that are about your location. What I'm meaning actually with attributes, when I say attributes are all the non-spatial data about your location. So when we have cities as our location, we say that, okay, city is our spatial data. But we have a lot of other information related to the city. Name, for example, I don't know, population, race, ethnicity, census data, all those information are your non-spatial data that are saved in your DBF. So that's very important. Or projection is how you show your map actually, because when you think about the globe, that's 3D. When we are making a map, that's 2D. You need to use some type of projection. Sometimes you need to use projections that, for example, you are going to do some analysis based on the distance. You need a projection that keeps the distance, that shows the distance correctly, because all of the projections, they miss something. Some of them, they don't keep the distance correctly or show the distance correctly, but they show the shape correctly. Depending on what is your need, you need to think about what type of projection you need to use. So that's again another important information. So just remember, if you are going to share your data, just select these 5 of them, right click on them and send to compressed. You see now here I have stored a shapefile, a complete shapefile. If I share this with you or with anybody, that person is going to be able to open this shapefile in a QGIS. So that's one thing, one very important actually thing that I wanted to say and mention. Right now I'm going to delete that, we don't need it. And besides this shapefile, all of the shapefiles here, we have also one Excel sheet that we are going to see during the workshop. We are going to use as a separate table, as we call it, standalone table. Okay, enough with the data, let's go to the software. And again, if you have any questions, please stop me. I would be happy to answer your questions. Okay, now you're looking at your software. Please open new empty project. Just double click on it. We opened a page, a new project, a new map project. So now, first of all, what I'm going to ask you to do is just to pay attention to the windows that are open here. Like we call them panels and toolbars. If they are here, we call them toolbars. If they are like this browser or processing toolbox, these are our panels. We are going to explore a little bit, and I'm going to ask you to activate some of your toolbars for this workshop today. Okay, first, let's look at our panel. What we have on this browser panel here on the left. You are seeing some of the content that you can actually use to get your data from it. For example, you are seeing the C drive and D drive. If you stored your data, for example, in your D drive, you may open this one and just open each folder until you reach the folder where you saved your data. Or if your C drive, it's the same thing. So this is one way for opening your data, for adding data to your map. What you can do is just, for example, C and then users. Here I'm saying, for example, Windows. I have different things here, but what I can do is just to go to my downloads, for example, here, and just, you see, I have one zipped and one unzipped. I'm interested in the unzipped one. I can again extend this one, and now I'm seeing my layers. What I can do is just to drag these layers and put them in the map. There's another way to add the data. I'm going to show you that as well. But before going ahead with that one, I want still to talk about the panels a little bit. But these panels should be useful to you. If they are not useful, you can just close them. And anytime that you think, oh no, I really needed that, you can go ahead and open them. How can you do that? You see the view option here. If you click on the view option, you can just look a little bit what you have here, panels and toolbars. If you look at your panels, for me, you see browser is activated now. Processing toolbar is active as well. If I don't need the browser, I can just click and get rid of it. But if I need to get it back, I can do that. Another way just to see your panels and toolbars is just to right click on a space that has nothing on it. Here, for example, here on the right, I right click here. Just easily you can see your panels and toolbars and just activate whatever you need. For the sake of this workshop, I'm gonna leave the panel be there, but what I really need to have is my layers panel. You see my layers panel, I activate that, but it appears a little bit, like not in the place that I want. So I can just change that. I can put it here. You see, if you can move these panels for wherever you feel more comfortable. So that's another good thing about this software. And I can extend this like, okay, now I'm good. Here, whenever I add layers to my data, I'm going to see them here. Processing toolbars, toolbox is what we have also in Esri's product. Again, whenever you need a tool, you can come to this toolbox and use any of them. For now, I really don't need it, so I'm going to close it. And I don't think I need this one, so I'm going to close that as well. But then let's explore a little bit. I have an overview panel. I'm gonna open this one to show you what happens over there later. But for the toolbars, I need you to please activate your attributes toolbar, data source manager toolbar, and manage layer toolbar. Okay, and right click on, again, I right click and open. You have your selection toolbar. I need also that. And also your map navigation toolbar. So practically 4 of them are very important. Your selection toolbar, map navigation toolbar, attributes toolbar, and manage layer toolbar. Okay, I have some others, but you don't need actually to open them if you don't want to. Okay, if everybody is here ready with the toolbars, I can continue. Let's see how to add layers. So as I said, you can, for example, you have cities here, you can just drag it. And you are seeing all the cities, the layers. But I want to show you another way. For example, let's say your browser is not open. And you want another way to add your data. This happens through this manage layer toolbar that you are seeing here. I'm moving my cursor on it. The first one says add vector layer. Just you can click on that. When you click on it, this window opens for you. And you say here, source, vector data set. You have these 3 dots on the right. You click on that to browse. It directly goes to my downloads. If it doesn't, I go again to my downloads and open this unzipped folder. And you see, again, too many files here and different type of files here. Okay, which one should I add? I don't want to add PDFs. So let's see. Here on the right, you see all files. Please click on that and extend it. You see a variety, a vast variety actually of data types that you can add. What we are looking here for is Esri shapefiles. Please find that and click on Esri shapefiles. When you click on Esri shapefiles, now you're seeing only your shapefiles, but it doesn't mean that the other components are not included. They are. So you can just do this to copy all of them and click on open and add. Now we have all of our shape files here. But then there was another Excel file that I wanted to add, right? So what I do here, instead of Esri shapefile, I click again and open the types, and I look for another type of data that I can add to my, so let's see. There are a lot of them here. We can click on all. So if you click on all, you're going actually to see all of them, and then you can add, actually, maybe this is the best thing. Instead of looking for the type of data, you can just click on all files and then taxes. This is the standalone table that I want, and open and add. Okay, now close. You see that I have two layers. I added two cities because the first one I was looking at my browser, and I used my browser to add this layer. So what I'm going to do is just click on this and then right click on this, remove layer. I don't need this anymore. I don't need two of them. Okay. Now you have everything that you need here. So first, let's try with zoom in and zoom out. You can use your mouse to do this. The scroll, you can scroll in and scroll out with your mouse and see. Okay, and then you can with your left click, you can move this. We call this pan. Okay, and something like this until you are happy with the. For example, we are going to see only the 48 states, and this is what I need. So zoom in and zoom out with your mouse. Another way that you can zoom in and out are these two tools here. You can use the magnifier. If you click on the magnifier, and let's say that we want to, for example, explore Texas more, you can just drag a box, draw a box around Texas and magnify, zoom in. Or you can use the other one just to make your whatever adjustment that you need to do. Okay. And you're asking maybe what's this one? Let's click on zoom full and see what happens. If you click on zoom full, it takes you to the original extent of your map. Sometimes you need to do this because you are working on a very specific area, for example, like this, and you don't know how many clicks you need to do to go to your original extent. Just click on that, and that's gonna happen. But again, if you want to go back on your, because if you don't change your tool, the same thing is gonna stay, and you see it's gonna impact my map. So what I need to do is just go back on pan. So again, on this toolbar and find the hand. We call this pan map. So click on that, and you can again move your map as you wish, and you can use your scroll just to zoom in and out. Okay. So now let's go and explore a little bit what we have in the layers section, layers panel. You can see we have all the data. We have our spatial data that are our shape files, and we have our standalone table, which is the tax total, the taxes actually table. So we have an order in GIS for our layers. You need to always put your points first because those are our one-dimensional data. After that, we put lines, and after that, we put polygons. So here you see lakes should be under rivers. So what we need to do, just highlight that and drag it under rivers. Okay, now it's better. Because if, for example, let's try, if you have your cities under your polygons, you see you're not going to see them. So what you need to do is just to drag it on the top. Okay, that's one thing. And that's very important for the layer of orders, for the order of layers, sorry. So now let's go try identify feature here. Please find this identify features and click on it. It's here. So when you click on it, another window opens for you. You see here on the right, and you see the overview is showing you the polygon. I just wanted you to see what overview shows, but it's not anything that we really need. So I'm going to close that, but this one is gonna show up because this is where you are going to see the information. Okay, I clicked on this tool, and for example, I click on Texas. And you see that all the information that I have in my attribute table, or the table where I store all my non-spatial data, appears here. So if you are looking for a quick information, you can just use this identify feature and find, information that you need. There's a very important matter here that you need to pay attention to. Let's say that I want to look another state. I try to click and I see, okay, why my states are not really, I cannot identify anything. My states are not going to be selected. The reason in QGIS is that accidentally I highlighted my lakes. So whenever you need to use the identify features, first pay attention that you are selecting the layer that you are interested in. If you are going to look at US states, you need to highlight this first and then click. And now you can see that, only states are going. If I do highways, now you're seeing that this one is selected. So that's very important. Okay. Now that you see the importance of identify features, just please unselect your cities, interstate highways, rivers, and lakes. And you see that my selection, even though I unselected, it's still showing here. So what should I do? It's just I need to use my selection toolbar. You remember that we added the selection toolbar? It's this one here, this 4. So what you need to do is just to click on this one. This one is your unselect. It's not unselecting. Okay, deselect features from all layers. Okay, let's see. Because it's still on, I think it's still on the identify features. Probably it's not working with the selection. What I need to do is just to click on a white section. That's another way that I can do this. Again, as I said, with QGIS, they do a lot of updates, and several times they change the tools, or sometimes there's a glitch. I'm going to show you one of them today, and this might be another one. But if you click just in a white space, you're going to see that your selection, it goes away. And again, I unselect these layers here. I select my pan map again, so I can move my map as I wish. Okay. Now
Hi, Shadi.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So I am having quite a bit of trouble getting my
Mhm.
software installed on a Mac system. Should I even be attempting this? I've heard that maybe Mac and GIS doesn't get along. Is that true?
No, really, you can do it with QGIS. It should work because whenever you go to
Okay.
the QGIS website, you have the chance to download it, install it on a Mac or on Windows system. The problem
Okay.
is usually with Esri products.
Okay. Okay. So I see Elizabeth said that she's having a similar problem.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it's my operating system or something else, but I don't want to take up.
Hello? You know, what we can do is just whenever, in just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whenever we are going to have a break, I can see what I can do actually for you.
Okay.
I never installed one on Mac, but I can see, what the website is showing and we can work it together.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Of course. Sure. Okay. So I'm going to show also the measure tool and talk a little bit about the select feature, and then we are going to have the break. After that, the main part of this is going to come up because we are going to select, we are going to use the attribute table, and then we are going to make a map out of that. So right now, just wanted to show another tool that is sometimes used, which is the measuring tool. This ruler here. What you do, let's say that I want to measure this border of Texas. First of all, I can move my map as I said, and then I can use the magnifier just to create a box around the area. Now I feel a little bit better. Okay, I'm seeing a little bit. Okay, that's good. So now when you're happy, you just click on your measure tool. You see this little window showing up for you. What you do is just you select, for example, kilometers or miles, if that's the one that you want. And then here you are seeing two other options, Cartesian and ellipsoidal. Ellipsoidal is based on the 3D, based on the globe measurement. So what you want to do is just to select Cartesian, which is planar, based on a 2D representation of this section that we are going to measure. So now that I'm ready with my unit and with selection of Cartesian here, you're going to start and click first on one point. As you see, I have this line going, and little by little, depending on how much precision you want to put here, we don't want an exact number, but we want to have a estimate or a rough estimate of, what the measurement of the border is here. So you click, 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 click. And okay, let's say this is my final point. I right click on this, right click on my final point, and this is gonna be my measurement. Here in this window, you can see 831 miles almost. That's what should be. And then you can see also the length of each segment that I selected. So you can scroll up and down. If you are interested in one segment, you can actually just get that measurement. Okay. This was another tool that I wanted to show. Whenever you don't need that, you can just click and everything is going to disappear from your map. And again, let's say I want to go back to my full extent. or zoom full. Full extent is the one, is the term that Esri uses, ArcGIS Pro uses, or ArcGIS products. They use this full extent. Here is zoom full. Okay, I do this, and then you see it's still on the measure tool. So what I need to do is just go on my toolbar and select pan. I click on pan and I again can move it. And this is the zoom that I want, let's say. Okay, so I don't need the identified results panel anymore, so I can close that as well. So now let's a little bit talk about selection and then stop here for the break. The selection toolbar, that was one of the main toolbars that I told you just to please add, because that's one way you start your analysis really in GIS. So again, if you haven't activated that, just come to your toolbars, find selection toolbar and activate that. You activate that and you see that here, this 4. The first one, just please let's extend. We have 4 options here. Select features. Click on select features. Let's say we want to select Texas. Click on Texas and you cannot select it really. Why do you think this is happening? It's not happening because it's not highlighted. Just remember that you need to highlight that in QGIS. You might not be used to it because in Esri products you don't need really to do this, but in QGIS you need to. Okay, US states. Okay, now I'm seeing it's highlighted. I'm seeing Texas. I'm seeing this, and if I do this, draw a box, I can select, other states that I really want to. Another one is select feature by polygon. So let's say first we want to unselect. You can click here, or you can, for example, click on this, deselect. Then we try select features by polygon. By polygons means that you draw a polygon, you draw an area, like first click here, for example, then another click here, another click here, and another click here. This is my polygon. Now I'm happy with that, just right click. When you right click based on the polygon that you just drew, you can select, your states. So again, I want to deselect. I click on that. Another one is select features by freehand. It means that it's not going to be a polygon. It's going to be whatever you draw, something like this. You see? I can do anything, really with that. That's not something really that we use a lot. And then select features by radius. Let's say by radius, you click here or click here, and then based on the radius, you can, wherever you do your second click, that's gonna be selected. Those states are going to be selected. So this is our select tool. What we, okay, let me just deselect this. I wanted to show that sometimes you do not like the color selection. Let's say because you are used to use ArcGIS Pro or ArcGIS products. Those products usually use cyan as the color of selection, and you need to change yellow. So what you do is just go on the project section here on the left, click on project and see properties. Click on properties. Your properties window is open here. Okay. You see selection color. You can change that based on what you want. Let's say that you want to make it closer to what Esri has. Something like that, maybe. And you say, okay, this is the color that I want to use. Apply and okay. Now let's select. select by radius is open. Now, if you do this, you see the color is changed. Now it's very similar to Esri. So this is another thing about selection. Another way of selection is selecting based on your attribute table. So what I want to do just for the last, but we are going to work with the attribute table after the break as well. So what you need to do is just right click on US states and open your attribute table. Open attribute table. Okay. So when you open your attribute table, you see all the non-spatial information stored and also spatial information, because if you have latitude and longitude, location, address, those are your spatial information. They could be also stored here. One other way of selection, let's say I want to select Washington. I just click on 2 here on the row, and that's gonna be selected. Washington State is selected. If I hold the control key, I can select 2. Or I can select more. And you can see them in your table and you can see them on the map. So this is another way. Sometimes it's very useful. But let's talk about this. If you agree, let's take a break here and come back to our attribute table after the break. So we can talk a little bit more about this.
Okay, that sounds great. So how about we come back at 3:06? That's about 10 minutes. Okay, we'll see you then.
Okay, I'm here to help with installing QGIS if you're still here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's see if I can help really. Oh, sorry.
Hi, this is Elizabeth. Hi. I'm sorry. I've got quite a narrative of what I'm troubleshooting here, but I'm sorry to say it's not yet working. It is just really, it's hung up on the installer process. It's working, but it's copying the file over into application. Hold on and let me read you exactly what it's saying. I don't know. I don't mean to hijack Jarrell's time, but I was hoping we could build on what I've already done here, if that would be helpful and efficient.
Absolutely.
So we're just, oh no, we finally have an estimated, no, we don't. It's copying QGIS to applications, but now I have like a counter, 10.2 megabytes. Hey, it's begun copying to applications. We have about a 3-hour wait.
3 hours? No, yeah, that should be really 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
And I've actually probably, since I sent the last message, guys, I've been waiting to get that timer. It's just been copying with just the blank working symbol. So now I've got a timer and it's doing it.
Okay, that's really.
So what I think is really interesting is that when I downloaded it, I thought, how large is this file? I know that it was over a gig, but even it took a long time to download, and then it took a long time to install. So I wonder if there's some extra files somewhere. And then I also saw that the Mac system said that it could not check for viruses and to contact the developer. So it's possible that the computer is fighting the installation. And I think maybe Elizabeth and I might be experiencing the same thing based on our OS.
My other concern, Jarrell, to add to all of that is that on the QGIS homepage, there is a further, when you scroll down beyond the Mac OS installers, there's an option for a later version of Mac OS. And I have the most recent, the Big Sur. And when you click on that link, it's not related to QGIS. It's not the same website. It's very suspicious looking. So I chose not to do that. So I may well be downloading a non-efficient, that might be what's taking so much time here, but I did not like the way that website looked that recommended for later versions of Mac.
Sure, so it wasn't this one?
So may I share screen quickly to show you guys what I'm doing? I don't know if I've never went on to the Chrome browser. I've gotten so used to Firefox. So I'm not sure if this will let me share screen. But what I'll do,
I think you should be able to do that.
I'll give it a try.
Yes, try
So
it.
we come into here, and you have this. I'm sorry, the host has disabled screen sharing for attendees.
Okay, so what about right now?
Let me try it again. Yeah. So Huva wants that select window screen. So this is different. I want. I don't really know. We'll just give you my entire screen, I suppose.
Yeah, I did not create this Zoom link, so I'm not exactly
Do
sure
that.
how you should. What are the sharing settings?
So it's okay. This is fine. So let me. My browser is preventing access, so Firefox doesn't like this either. Why don't I just drop the links? This, if you guys scroll down on this page, the download HTML. Let me get back into the proper window. And then this is what it looks like when you click on the link. That's alternative build Mac installer package for Mac OS Sierra and newer. And Big Sur is the newest, so it's newer than Sierra. So I'm going to click on this link and just going to drop what it looks like for you guys. It's King Chaos, King with a K, and it just looks super weird. I just did not want to download that.
Please don't do. Please don't do that.
So I've actually tried again, and I'm getting the same message whenever I try to launch. The OS is saying I can't scan it, so I'm not going to open it.
So the first part went well when you downloaded this section that I'm showing right now?
Yes, but for some reason the machine does not like the file or the program.
I see. I'm not sure really what to do for that. The only thing is, as I said, that there might be a glitch in the data because this is a very recent version that they provided. And sometimes there are these type of problems because this is a free source and you have, free open source actually. There are a lot of ways your machine thinks, okay, maybe this is not a good file. That might be a problem, or I don't know how you want to contact them really. As I mentioned, sometimes it's really, there's no way just to find anybody to answer. You might be able to write on a forum or, just Googling, you find information about it. But definitely what I can do is I take a note about this and I ask also Nathaniel. Maybe he knows, maybe he had an experience with this issue. I know he said probably it's straightforward, but there might be an issue with this new version that Nathaniel knows the answer to. So I may ask him and get back to you really.
Meanwhile, my downloader is still working on it, guys, with 3 hours estimated time remaining. May I ask, Shadi, are you doing tomorrow's GIS? Will you be in the same?
I'm not doing tomorrow's, no.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of follow up and let you know if it worked, because this will not be done by the end of this meeting.
I can give you my email address. I'm not seeing the chat box here. Let me see. I wanted to write in the chat, but I don't see the chat box available to me.
And look, for me, it's on you have to click on the top. There's a top right menu.
Yes,
chat community. When you click on chat, that's when you can see it. Huva is a different. It's not Zoom. It's not Teams. It's different entirely. And I'm just clicking around.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Shadi might be in Zoom a little bit different than the attendees are. So the chat is only in Huva. So I'm not sure if you have that open, but that's where. Yes, there you go. And on the right side. Maybe if you click on view as attendee, maybe. Well, Let's see.
Send a message.
It does look different than.
I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see. If you click on chat, so you're in Q&A. On the right-hand side, if you see on the top, it says chat 17.
Yes.
Click there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I'm going to type my email address.
Enjoy my narrative. If you haven't seen Thank you.
That's good. I'm going to take a screenshot of this.
There's quite a bit up there. So I'm going to go ahead and send you a test email now, because I don't know if I'll be able to access this chat after this meeting, and hopefully sometime this evening or afternoon I'll be able to follow up. And Jarell, if it's okay with you, I'll CC you on that email.
Please, yes, because
Awesome.
I would really like to try out this program because it looks great, but I can't do much right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, exactly. And I'm worried I'm going to be behind on it tomorrow, but my plan was just to download it on the UH laptop for tomorrow's and sit and watch and learn as much as I could today. I don't know if that's feasible for you, Jarell, but anyway.
Maybe tomorrow, but I'm moderating a few things.
Oh, nice. Well,
Got a session
enjoy.
too. Yeah. Thank you very much, Shadi, for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, of course. I'm so sorry that I couldn't really help, but that's another problem I mean with open source, free open source GIS. But I wouldn't have really expected, you know, that with Esri products for sure, you know, that's a really long process of getting the parallel on your system and, you know, install it if it works. But with QGIS, I wasn't really expecting that. So I'm going to do my research as well this afternoon to see if I find anything in that email that you're sending to me. I'm going to reply back.
And it's 3:06, so if you're ready to start, feel free to get started again.
Okay, perfect.
I just want to say one quick thing. I found that after I downloaded it on a Mac, it told me Apple cannot verify it doesn't contain malicious software, so I had to go into security and privacy before it would launch. I was able to install it. Well, at least it looked like it was installed, but it would not launch. So some people may want to check their security privacy thing on the Macs.
Thank you, Frank.
I'm running version 11.0.
Yes, I also think that problem should be there, probably, in the security and privacy section. But thanks for sharing. Okay. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. I'm so sorry that not all of us are can work on the hands-on project, but as I said, I put my email address in the chat. So if you have any questions later related to this workshop, I'm happy to answer. Okay, let's go and see the selections a little bit more. So what we did, we opened our attribute table, and let's first deselect if you have selected anything, and then again, click on your US states and right click on it. Just explore a little bit the options. I may be able to talk a little bit about a couple of them. Unfortunately, the time is limited, but I'm going to open attribute table. So here, you can just explore a little bit your attribute table. You see, I have some census data here in my attribute table. Okay. And then the first thing that I have is state names here. Okay. So now what we want to do with this, we explored that we can select like with control, if we want to select, you know, 3, 4. If you select on 1, you see it doesn't work, but you need to select on this left side on the number. In that case, that's gonna show as a proper selection. And then here on the bottom, you are seeing show all features. So for now, you are seeing all of your features. On this side of your table, on the top, you are seeing the name of your layer, you are seeing the total number of features included in this table, which is 51, and you are seeing also your selected 3. So what you can do here on the bottom again, where you see the show all features, click on that, and let's say show selected features. In that case, you're seeing only your selected features. That's sometimes very helpful, because you're doing, again, a quick type of, visual analysis, and this helps. Okay, again, let's go back to our show all features and deselect. You have a chance to deselect, as I showed in this, using this toolbar here on the top, but you can use also your attribute table, because as you see, you have some of your toolbars here as well. So the selection toolbar is showing up, and you have a couple of more options here as well. So deselect all features from the layer. When I click on that, you deselect all of them. Okay. Now let's explore a little bit doing some queries with our table. Query is the type of questions that we can ask our table through selection. So what we use is usually the SQL language that we call SQL language, but this type of softwares, as well as ArcGIS Pro, they helped us with the use of they help us with the use of this language. It's not really necessary. It's necessary to know some basics about it, but not that much really. Most of the job is done by the software. So just click on select features using an expression. This option on your table. Okay. You click on that. Here you can see that window opened for you. What we want to do is just, let's say, we want to select some subregions here, or one subregion here, first of all. So what you can even move this a little bit, you see, just close this for now, if that's easier for you, and then reopen it for now, because I want you to be able to see all of this, written text here. I close that one. So what I need you to do, please, is just to find fields and values and extend that. You see that you have fields and values here. I said we want to select subregions. So let's see, where is our subregions? Okay, it's the third one, subregion. Double click on this. You see that subregion is going to be written automatically on the left. So what we want to do, subregion equal to. So equals to. Here it's telling you expression is not valid. That's correct, because we don't have anything yet in the other part of our equal. So what we are going to do is just, I'm gonna reopen this section. You see, a nice part of this is all the information that QGIS provides for you. So if you do not need how to use this window, they are going to give you more information. Okay, double click on this, and these are the functions that you can use. It's very nice. It's very, for self-education, you can use that. So what we want to see, what are our options for subregions. For that one, you are going to click on all unique. You click on all unique here, and you see all the options that you have for subregions in your table. So this is your table, this is your subregions. You see, these are not unique, of course, but here you are seeing the unique ones. What we are going to select here is West, North, Central. Just double click on that. That's going to be added to your expression. And now you see nothing, no error here, because that's a correct expression. Now that your expression is ready, click on select features. When you click on select features, how many features did you select? You are seeing 3, but you really selected 7. Here on the top, you are seeing the number. So again, what you can do, just show selected features, and you can see them. On the map, you can see them again. Okay. So let's add a couple of other queries to this. I would say let's close this. Let's deselect. And again, your attribute table is here. You see nothing selected. So we go on show all features. Again, open your expression, select by expression. And now this time let's write state name. Let's select state names. So again, what you do is just go and find your fields and values, state name, double click. This time you are not going to use equal to, because equals to is going to select only one state. Okay, of course you can add to that. You can say select this state or another state, for example, select Texas or Oklahoma. Both of them are going to be selected because you are using or. But what we are going to do here, we are going to say select name, and you scroll down in this window and you find operators. You see operator here, just extend that. You see you have equal, greater than, some logical operators, but you have also like. Double click on like. And then single quote, open, write new. It's very important that you write the N with capital letter because this is important in SQL language. And then this % sign. And then close your quote. Okay. Now what you are saying to the system is just select the states that their name start with new. So you say start with new and the rest, it doesn't matter. The rest is your %. And then you say select features. You see 4 of them are selected. You can see them also on your map. So now let's add another expression to this. Let's say, or, we want to use also or. Or is here, you can write or, but it should be capitalized, or you can select it from your operators, double click, or let's say population density. Or population, not population density, population. Let's see, we have population 2005. Just double click on population 2005 on your fields and value. Greater than, for greater than, you can use your keyboard or you can just scroll down again to your operators and use this 1 million, 1 and 6 zeros. Okay. Now you have a more complex, let's say, expression. So select features. Now you see when you used or, you have 43 selected. It means that you are giving options to the system. You are saying or is always like, you say select for me the states that their name starts with new, or if that's not happening, select all other states that that their population 2005 is more than 1 million. So you kind of make a union between these two operators. So now we have 43 selected. What we want to do this time, we want to close this select by expression, but do not deselect. Just explore a little bit and again reopen. You could also delete your expression from here instead of closing. And now just write, we want to see where the population of African American population in what of the selected areas, the African American population is larger than white population. So we again open our files and not files on paths, files on values, and then see we have some census data here. You double click on black, you go on your operators or just use your keyboard, greater than white. Okay, now do not click on select features. Instead of that, just extend the option and select the last option, filter current selection. So filter current selection. You click on that and close. Unfortunately, this is one of the glitches here. One should be selected, but what I'm going to do is to do it again. I think I found a way around this. Usually this should work, but again, with the changing the new version, changing into the new version, they changed some of this. So state name, like new or population 2005 greater than 1 million. Select features, 43 are selected here. What I'm going to do is just to remove this one and again write black, population greater than white, and see, just filter. Again, it says 0, but I click on select features. And now when I click on select features, 1 is selected. You see, this is one thing changed from the previous version. Previous version was easier because when you click on filter, automatically filters and shows the result. Now you should filter, grant selection, and then select features. And then you can see your results. 1 is selected. And see, it's District of Columbia. So I have my results here. So we've seen selection. You can close your attribute table and you see nothing on the map, but if you zoom in, you can see your selection here. You see, this is District of Columbia. Okay, I want to deselect. So deselect from the top. And then I think we have time to go through also to see some joins, because that's also very important, when you're working with GIS layers. Let's say, what do we mean by join first? Joining means that you have a shapefile. Sometimes your shapefile includes information about population or census data or whatever, information that you need. But sometimes it's not really. You go and you download your boundaries, for example. You have only the area and some other information about your counties, but that's it. It's just the county name and county, for example, state abbreviation, some of this basic information, but it doesn't really have the population or other information that you want to have for your layers. So what should you do is just to go and download these two data separately, depending on whether the other data is a table, standalone table, like Excel sheet or CSV file, or another shapefile. You can do both. You can do a join between two shapefiles, a join between a table or a shapefile. So here what we have, and we are going to see, is a join between a table and a shapefile. So here we added the taxes, total taxes here, right? So you click on that and open attribute table. When you open your attribute table, you see in this Excel file, we have only one column that is called name and another column that is called total taxes, right? So you need to explore also your US state. So you again open your attribute table and you see, okay, I have some census data here, but I do not have the tax information. So what I want, always when you are going to do a join, imagine what is gonna be your final result. Imagine what is that you need. What I need here is to see the tax information as a field or column. We call all of the columns in GIS field. So when I say a field, it means a column. So you want to see another field added to this table with the information of taxes for each state. So I'm going to close this. So I know that this layer here is my destination. This is where I want to see that. So I right click on this and say, let's say, properties. Where's the properties? Properties. It's the last one. Okay, you open properties and you find joins here. Okay, you find joins and nothing is here because you do not have a join. So what you need to do is just click on this green plus here. Now you are ready to add a join. It's telling you join layer. Join layer is the layer that you want to add to your US states. So your standalone table, that's gonna be the taxes. And then target field is your, let's see, let's explain this first. Join field. You saw that in the tax table, you had two columns. One was the name and one was the tax value. So you have the name column in your US states as well. Always one important, very, very important thing to mention actually regarding joins is that you always need to have a column that is shared between both of your tables. In both of the tables here, you have the name column. So that's the column that you are going to use to base your join on it. Sometimes, most of the time, that column is an ID because a lot of names in your table might be duplicates or might be, kind of repeated. So what you need to use is a unique column, shouldn't be repeated. So at that point, you are going to use an ID. But here, because it's the name of the states, those are unique. So what we are going to use is the join field is going to be the name column in your tax spreadsheet. And the target field, it means that in your target or destination layer, US states, which field is going to be, your join field, where the join is going to be based on state name. So you choose that and you select OK. Now you see one line written here. You apply and you can close. OK. Now if you open, right click again on your layer and open attribute table and scroll to the right. You can see the column of taxes added. Here. Okay, you can see that. So this is also very important. So I wanted to have a chance to tell you this. You can explore this more with other shape files or just standalone tables and see exactly how useful that could be to you. So you can close this. But let's see if I reopen my properties and I go on joins, I have this join. So let's see if I want to remove it. That's going to be this. Remove selected join. Now it's removed that. Join is not going to be there anymore. So again, if I open my attribute table, I go to the right, it's still here. Not sure why, shouldn't be really. So maybe that's again one more glitch that it has. Because, okay, let's see. Join, apply, close, again, open attribute table. Okay, now it's not there. Now I accepted it. Maybe it didn't apply the first time. So now you see the tax information is not there anymore. Okay, now that we did the selection, we did the join, these are two important things to do analysis with GIS. Let's explore a little bit cartography of our layers. Let's see, let's select again, activate just your cities here. And let's say that we want to select, this is too much for our map and we really don't need this. So let's say that we want to select only capital cities. What we are going to do is to write a query, but in a different way. This time we are not going to use our attribute table. directly to write this query. What we are going to do is just right click on your cities and then select filter. When you click on filter, a window that is called Query Builder opens for you. In ArcGIS, this is called definition query. You open Query Builder and here explore. Okay, what type of cities I said? I said capitals. So let's select capital, double click, so you can write it here. And then let's say, okay, what we have, click on all. We have three options, of course, not null, but national or state. I want state, but before clicking on state, I would just use an operator equals to double click state. Of course, instead of double clicking and selecting from this window, you can just write this, using your keyboard if that's more comfortable for you. But a lot of times your options are not only two, sometimes your options are more. So you do not remember. What you want to do is just always to click on all and see all of your unique options. And based on, what you see, maybe you remember, oh, okay, yeah, I wanted that one. So, and you're going to select that. So this is useful there, but sometimes when people are used to write, SQL, if they remember the name of the fields and the name of the options here or unique options, they can just write it, directly. So when you write this, you can test it. You can test, and it says there were clouds return 50 rows. Okay, that's okay. That looks good. And I close it. You can close it. Okay, we are happy with this. But what we want to do is also change the symbology a little bit, because the colors are not looking really bright or nice. So again, you right click on your cities and find your properties. When you go on again on Esri products, you right click and again you find symbology directly. But in QGIS, you click on properties, layer properties, and then you find symbology. Okay, you find symbology, and let's say you see if they were airports, we could use this one. You could, of course, use points if that's easier and if that makes more sense for your project. But sometimes using symbols are also nice, is also nice, for some of the visualization, for the visualization sake, actually. So here, let's say we want to use capital. So what you can do, just write capital. Okay, you see, as soon as I write that, it was already there, but this opens for me and I say, yeah, I'm happy with that. I want to use it. So now I see, okay, let's apply and see. Okay, that's not bad. I like it. Let's, okay. Okay, for now, this is okay. Let's see how our map changes and then we can decide. Now let's say that your goal, the final goal of this workshop is to create a thematic map of population density in the United States. So what we need to do is just to open also the symbology for US states. So again, right click on that one, go on properties, please. Open properties and symbology. It's already on symbology. So you see an option here, it says single symbol, right? But what we usually use for showing population density is a graduated color map. So just extend and see what are your options. You can find graduated as one of your options. Please click on that, graduated. Okay. So now we don't care anymore about this color here because we are using this color ramp. But you are not seeing your classes. The goal is to see the classes as a legend. So what you need to do is just to click on classify. Sometimes you see with QGIS, sometimes when you open this and you select your graduated, you see your classes here, but sometimes not. If you do not see your classes here, just click on classify. When you click on classify, again, it doesn't show for me. Do you know why? Because I forgot to select my value. When you click on graduated, after that, you need to select one of your fields or columns as a value to be shown on your map. So I set population density. These two are population density. These are population. These are other information. So I go with population density 2005. That's POP05 SQMI, square per month. Okay, so now that I have my value, of course, if I click on my classify, I'm going to see these values here. Okay, and then another important thing here is your mode. Fortunately, I cannot explain all of this here today because of the time, but this is also one important thing that you need to learn, how to classify your data. What's the theory behind each of this? But I can tell you that one of the classification methods that we often use is natural breaks. So if you click on natural breaks, it breaks your data in the natural existent kind of orientation within your data. Looks at your data and it says this is the most, I mean, probably based on the natural breaks, this is the most natural one. You can sometimes call this Jenkins classification. So now let's use natural breaks and then look at your values here. Explore a little bit. Okay, you could say, I want to make a map that it's easy for people to understand. So I do not want to use 100 or 3.70. That's not what I'm interested in. So what you're going to do is just please double click on this and you see your lower value and upper value. For the upper value, change it to 50 for the first one and click OK. For the second one, again, click on it, and for the upper value, change it to 100. The third one, the upper value becomes 250. Fourth becomes 500. And the last one, we leave it like this because that's our maximum. So we want to have that. And you see the labels, how they are going to be shown on your map, on your legend of your map. Okay, now let's apply this. Okay, this looks nice to me. So I would say that if you are, you like this, you can just close that and you can see your legend again on the layers panel on your left. And I would say, okay, now that we are using the cities and we are using the population density, let's show the name of the states. But what I'm thinking is just showing the name of each state is gonna be a little bit too, too much information on this map. So I'm going to use state abbreviations. So again, right click on your US states and open properties. This time, instead of symbology, we are going to click on labels. You click on labels and you see no labels. You extend this option here and see single labels. You click on that and you see the value is state name. But as I said, probably that's gonna be too much text on the map. So let's see if we have a state abbreviation. So we have a state abbreviation, just apply, don't okay, just apply and see. Okay, it's a little bit, not that nice, but still good. What I'm going to do is just here on the left, you are seeing text, formatting, and buffer. Just click on text. So now change regular style, regular to bold. Probably size is okay. you can apply and see, okay, bold is a little bit better. And then I would say, I want to create a buffer around it so it can be seen better. So when you click on buffer, select buffer, there is this box here that you need to select, draw text buffer. You click on this and again apply. Okay, that's nicer. I like this, and I'm going to okay. But now I'm seeing the city symbol is a little bit, not showing as I really like it to. So I'm going to again right click on my cities and open properties. Go on symbols this time. And let's say, okay, I have these 2 markers. I can change each of this to whatever I want. So I'm going to click select on this so I get the options for the first one. Instead of black for these 2, I'm going to turn them to white. Okay, both of them, fill color and stroke color, both white. Okay, you can apply, and here you see, oh, okay, I lost all the definitions in it. But this time, if you select simple marker, you can change the fill color to black and stroke color to black. Okay, and apply. Okay, that's not bad. You can even change the size a little bit, maybe make it 2.8. Okay. And let's see if we want to change the size of the marker. You see, if you click on each of these, you see details about each of them. So now we want the whole marker here. So we select this one and let's change the size to 3.2 and apply. Okay, I think this one is good. So for now, we are going to leave this as it is and click OK. Now let's say that our map is ready and we want to make a map actually out of this. So what we need to do, first of all, save your project always. So project, save as. You can go, I go to my downloads where I have my folder. You can go again where you have your folders and you can write this my map or pop density. Up then. And this is not, just pay attention that this is not your map. This is just a QGIS file. And this is the extension that you are seeing here. You save it, and whenever you want to go back to this project, you can just go back to the file that you saved and reopen your project, but that's not your map. So now what you need to do is just again, click on project and new print layout. Find new print layout. Click on that. You need to select the name for it. Again, I'm going to say top 10, 2005 this time. Okay, and okay. Now you see another page opens for you. Okay. So let me see. Maybe that's too much. I want to make this more. Okay, this is better. So now I want to add my map to this. So you go on add items, add map. When you click on add map, nothing happens really, because you need to draw your map. You see, I start from here, I draw my map, and here it is. I have this map over here. I can also see, you know, if I change it like a little bit, I can use the, you see, you can move your frame as you wish, but then you can even, you know, play a little bit with the other options here that we have, add label or add other things. But what I want to show you is just to add items from here. So what I wanted to do is, let me see if I can. No, I don't want to zoom with this. But let's say that I don't, for example, like this one, and I want to delete that. It's just enough that you select it and you delete. Click delete on your keyboard and you can do that. So again, add map and see. Okay, this time probably you saw me. Whenever I wanted to change the orientation of the map on this layer, I went back to my map and I used pan just to change my map a little bit, you know, the location, and then again remove that and redrew. Okay, now let's say that we want to add a label, because that's going to be my title probably. Okay, so now when you open this, you can come here to the right and write, for example, population density 2005. Okay, that's good, but the font maybe, that's good, but I want to, let's see, the color black, I want to center it, and okay, item properties, this should, let me see. If you click on this, no, this is not what I really need to do, the dynamic text. No, I really don't need that. But with the font, that this should show you also the size of the font. Let me see. Yes, font size. So when you click on this, you can say, I think 20 or maybe 24. Yeah, that's good. So now I have my title and then I can move it. Let's say this is good. And now let's add another item, which is add legend. Here is add your legend. Again, you draw anything you want to add, you just draw it. This is gonna be your legend. And another thing you wanna add is just, again, click on your frame. You wanna say that I want to add a frame. You see, you scroll down here on the right and you click on frame and you can say, okay, this is good. I also have a frame. And the last thing you want to add is a grid instead of your north arrow. You here, when you scroll down, you see grids. You click on plus, you have your grid 1, and you click on modify grid. When you see your grid, you have the solid, and you are using for CRS, that your coordinate system, for your grid to show up, you need to use WGS 84. So this is the one that you select. And here the intervals, you use 10 and 10. Okay, that's good. You click on the color and say that the color should be, yeah, something like this. And let's say that you like it. Okay. Another important thing here that we are missing is to add a scale bar, but the scale bar here is a glitch. This is the one that I wanted to show you. If you click on a scale bar and you try to add a scale bar here, nothing happens, you see, but the scale bar is showing up here, and your map is gonna become black here. In this, a black box is gonna show up on your map. So you don't want that. You just deselect here on the right. The scale bar is one of the glitches here in QGIS for several versions that they couldn't solve it actually for now. So just to get a image out of this, you click on layout and export as image. Now you say that, okay, I have everything on my map. You export as image. I am in the folder that I was working in. So I want to save it there. And here you can choose, okay, I'm happy with JPEG, or I can go with other PNG, for example, but let's say JPEG is good for now. And save. When you click on save, another window opens for you. It's asking you what DPI you want to use. This is mostly for printing. For if you are going to use this map for printing, 300 is the minimum you use. If you are going to publish this map online, 150 would be good as well. Depending again on your preference, you select a number and save. When you save, you see a link comes here that, okay, I saved it here. You can click on that or just go directly where you saved your map. You see here, I have population density as my project. So this one is this. So if I click on that one, the QGIS is gonna open. If I click on this population density 2005 JPEG file, this is my final map. So that's practically all for today's workshop. I hope you really enjoyed this workshop. I'm so sorry that some of you couldn't use the software, but I'm pretty sure there's something to do with, to be done actually, that you can do and solve that and enjoy QGIS. So now, yeah, please ask, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yes, that was wonderful. I love GIS. That was super fun to make that map, and it turned out so beautifully. We do have one question so far from Jarrell, and he's wondering where you get the data sets from. Like, where did the population density information come from?
Okay, that's a great question. We have a lot of sources for GIS. I'm going to show you the ALKEX library ones. So if we have ALKEX library GIS section, finding GIS data at Texas State. If you want to read about this, that would be, very beneficial for you. There are a lot of data. It depends what type of data you want to use. If you want to use, for example, population data, you go on census or American Fact Finder. If you go to this website, you can find, census information, get them, and then calculate your population density. Population density is population divided by the area. So you can do that. You can add another field or column to your attribute table and calculate the population density. Sometimes you cannot find all of this information, but you can find the raw data. If you are looking, for the transportation data, you go, to websites that show that they contain actually, information about transportation. It's very diverse, but if you have a system like this in the library that is a research guide for you, that's the best page to start, because at least you find some classification. Here you can select, for example, that I want data by geography. I go here and I find, okay, USA and, historical boundaries, depending again what type of, data you are looking at. Or you can just select based on subject, and then here you can find, imagery, land cover, whatever data that or census. You click on census, and then all this, websites here show the census information. But it's very diverse. I would say for population, just go directly to census website.
And he had one other piece to the question was, if someone was conducting their own research, would they be able to input that into the system?
Into the system in terms of project, in terms of sharing with other people, or in terms of data?
I guess what I imagine is if he had a spreadsheet filled with data that he had collected, could he use that in a map?
Absolutely, yeah. You could use your data in a map, and you can share your data with others. It depends if you want to share just based on your, for example, not on an online platform, you want to use email. That's the way that at the beginning I showed that you need, if you have shape files, you need to zip them, put them in a folder. Just please don't forget a component of a shape file. That's very important. You make a folder out of it. Usually this data is heavy, especially if you have rasters and imagery. So what you want to do is always, just zip your folder and then send it by email. If you want to share your data on an online platform, that's usually done in Esri using ArcGIS Online. So you need to have an Esri account, Esri ArcGIS Online account. And in that way, and all the universities, I think in Texas, they have access to ArcGIS products. So you can definitely, we have at Texas State NetID username, as a NetID and password. You can use yours, access ArcGIS Online, and there you can have a chance to share your data within your organization or within a group. You create a group of people who work on the same project, and then you share your data only with them, or you share your data publicly. Esri gives you this opportunity as well.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Well, any more questions from anyone? Nothing. Okay, well, I guess we can call it a day. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And thank you, Shadi, for presenting this excellent workshop. So I'd like to encourage everyone here to join TCDL for upcoming sessions and take a look at the poster presenters and participate in the poster scavenger hunt. That link is online in Whova and also on the TCDL website. And finally, TDL is looking to gauge interest in forming a new member group around research integrity. This is building on the success of our brief research integrity workshop series back in February. And we have a survey for you to take, which will help us iron out some details around the group. I'm going to put the link in the chat. And if anyone is able to, please take a look at the survey. And that'll be coming up right about now. There we go. Okay, and with that, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.